We are back, baby, with a banger. It is 9 a.m. in London town. We are sat outside with a white tinny. God is good. Wise men did not bring gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They brought white tinnies. That's what we baby Jesus would have needed. He could have brought one of these bad boys up to the big man, and we would have had the world built in not 7 days, but one. Woke up this morning, went for my coffee, shop closed. Fear not, there's a co-op down the road. Shop closed. Fear not, there's a Pret 15 minutes away. See if you ever have to walk further than you need to. Never think, say, I'm getting more steps in, I'm getting leaner, baby. That's all I think about. I never worry if I have to take the long route anywhere. I'm getting more steps in. That means we're getting more shredded. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through how you can finally achieve your dream physique. There is so much noise out in social media. Do I cut? Do I bulk? Do I do keto? Do I do carnivore? Do I take peptides? Do I not? Do I take retatrutide and fat loss injections? Do I not? Is high reps better? Low reps? Who freaking knows? I do. I am the bearer of good news. That's what she said. I have come to bring you the answer. This is all you will need to get absolutely whammed, to get 100 girls on the beach. So let's get into it. Firstly, why should you listen to me? Because I'm the GOAT. No, why should you listen to me? Well, firstly, I have spent the past 8 to 10 years trialing, training, making mistakes. I have made every single mistake in the book when it comes to trying keto, when it comes to eating such little food that I didn't get a boner for about 6 months, when it comes to binge drinking constantly, when it comes to going over my calories, when it comes to training incorrectly. I have done it all, and that's why we get such good results, our guys inside the program, because they learn from my mistakes. What took me years takes them a matter of months, or what took me 7 years may take somebody else 3. I made so many mistakes. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of men and women get into world-class shape, and I'm not going to blow smoke up my own ass, which, albeit is my favorite activity. Actually, no, it's my favorite activity when somebody else does it. Going down a dangerous path there. Preferably a woman. Anyway, so you should listen to me, because I'm going to give you the goods, and you're going to get in shape this summer, and you're going to finally love what you see in the mirror. So let's get into it and stop talking smack. Firstly, what you need to realize is that if you are focusing on your career and you're busy, you need to realize that your fitness, your training, your food, it adds to your life. It does not subtract. That's the biggest mistake that people make. Firstly, they think, I'm busy, I haven't got time, I'm stressed out, therefore I'm not going to do X. I'm not going to train. I am going to skip my sessions. I'm going to grab my food on the go. Poor attitude. A reminder that if you run a business, the limiting factor is never the business itself. It is the business owner. And even if you don't run a business, would you make more money? Would you live a better life? Would you perform better in your career if you had higher or lower stress? Lower. If you had more or less energy? More energy. If you operated with more conviction at work or less conviction? Obviously with more. And you scheduling in time for your training and nailing your food properly, that is going to give you more energy, more bandwidth, more focus, more confidence, more conviction, so that you can show up in your day-to-day life at work. So that's the first thing, the first frame that I need to set for you, is that this adds to your life. You have to create time for it. I work with people that have, first, even myself, over the years, I've traveled to more countries than I could imagine. So the traveling excuse, that's not one. I've worked 70 to 80 hour weeks sitting on my laptop. The busy excuse, that's not one. I've been more stressed than I could possibly imagine. That's not one. There are always things that we could do to move forward. And every single example that I've just listed there and more, all of our guys have experienced. And we've taken the busy professional, the stressed entrepreneur, we've taken the father of 3 kids, the mother of 2 kids. We've taken them from stress flustered to world-class shape, living a better life. I just wanted to set that frame early doors. If getting in shape is truly a priority for you, you will make time. And if you could do it when you're busy, you will always be able to do it. If you wait until things are quiet, you'll always become a victim of your schedule. And before we get into it, when you're busy, how do you actually work around getting to the gym? Well, if you operate on a day-to-day basis and you try and fit it in, if you get thrown a heap of work in your day-to-day, you're pushing that back till later on and it ain't getting done. You need to sit on a Sunday with your laptop out, nice wee cup of chamomile tea, 7 o'clock on a Sunday, you're chilling out, you're relaxing, you've got the Netflix up, you've got the 4K fireplace crackling sounds in the background, it's ambient, baby. And you're looking at your week with a bird's eye view and you're planning your week. And I need you to plan in your sessions, your food shop, like a meeting with investors. I need you to plan it like a meeting with your boss. The same level of priority. So let's get into it. So back in my day, fuck's sake, I used to not have a clue what I was doing. I remember back to when I was 17, 18, and I would have been DMing people on Instagram, guys that were in quality shape that I'd never met, and I would have messaged them. I remember there was this one guy in particular, he used to wear really skinny jeans, and I asked him where he got his jeans from, and he says, they're Topshop jeans, they're women's jeans, mate. And I said, also as well, how did you get into the shape that you're in? I'm really, really skinny, I'm out of shape, and I don't know how to put on more muscle. And I asked him how much food he eats, and he says, I'm eating 3,000 calories, and my brain couldn't conceive how he ate so much food, but was so lean. He had abs popping, veins coming through his arms, he was tanned, and I'm like, this guy's a great god. I'm sitting here, built like the side of a fiver. If I turn sideways, brother disappears. And I wanted to know more. I messaged everybody. I tried to soak up as much information as possible. And I remember seeing somewhere online that Ronaldo was eating over 3,000 calories and he was absolutely ripped. I didn't understand it, and I'm going to explain how I, at 5'10", at 83 kg, can walk about razor lean year round whilst eating 3,500 calories. I'm going to explain that because a woman who's over the age of 16 should not be eating rabbit food year round. You should be eating enough food and fuel to fuel your training sessions so that you can perform at work. You should not be fried mentally from dieting year round. It's starting to rain, but listen, mama didn't raise a bitch. I'm liking it. I would have, can I say ChatGPT? I would have Googled how many calories does this have? How many calories did that have before I put anything in my mouth? And I actually used to get in a really unhealthy cycle where I would have went out for dinner and I would have actually made myself sick. And so many people said, oh, this disorder, it's a disorder. I didn't think of it like that. And so many people, they have things like that when they're younger, and then they hold on to that. They hold on to that even when into their 20s and their 30s and their 40s. I'm recovering XYZ. Listen, each to their own. My belief is that if you feed, one second, my laptop's actually getting soaked. My belief that I hold is that addiction's not real. My belief is that if you label yourself as something negative, one of my clients, Rebecca, she labeled herself as a phone addict. Yeah, well, that's what you're going to be. Be careful how you speak to yourself. I did not say that I have a eating disorder. I just said, well, at the time, I just said that I was trying to get in shape. I was well aware that it was not normal, But over time, I get a much better understanding through typing these things in, through speaking to people through Instagram. I get a much better understanding how my body actually worked. And I realized that the answer was not more dieting. I realized that the answer was actually gaining. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I've said this in my podcast before. So I got a coach, obviously, because of my brother. My brother was really overweight and he hated how he looked in the mirror. And we ended up going and getting and hiring a coach. I seen this guy on Instagram. His name was Matthew Lightbody. And I remember him doing a photo shoot. I was only 17 at the time. And how I knew Matthew Lightbody was because I played badminton. I know, the widest sport of all time. Oh. Yo, here, listen, if you thought I had no aura, I played badminton and table tennis at 18. You'd think my whole sex career was ruined from day one. I had 7 years of, I was going to say 7 years of sex in high school. Who's 12 years old having sex? Anyway, not me. I was playing ping pong and had an honours blazer for it. I was actually good at it. That's how bad it was. Anyway, this guy played badminton and he was like #1 in Europe at the time. And I thought, this guy's the GOAT. And I followed him on Instagram, and this guy was doing a photo shoot, and he looked incredible. You know, he had the abs, he had the ripped chest, and I thought unbelievable. And I'd seen that he tagged a coach, and it was this guy Ben Heron. Anyway, we ended up going to Ben Heron, and I remember that he put me into a gaining phase. I'd never done a gaining phase in my life. I was just permanently low calories, permanently flaccid. Brother had not seen wood in years. He was shouting, "Hello! Is anybody alive out there?" Do you know in the Titanic scene? Is anybody alive out there? Nothing. We were getting nothing back. It was a tumbleweed. And this is actually hectic. I actually remember going back after a night out, and I remember going back to this girl's house, and I was so obsessed with my parents at the time. I was so obsessed with women, with partying, and I went back to this girl's house, and the lights are on when nobody was home. Nothing happened, and it's just because I'd been dieting so hard. And that is, can you diet and not lose your manhood? Absolutely. Well, it didn't get chopped off. It just wasn't happening. He was on a gap year. Yes, absolutely you can. One of the biggest reasons why most men do this is because they are consuming too little fats. Your fats, i.e. say your nuts, the yolk in the egg, your oils, they are essential for hormone production. And when you're just completely cutting them dead, like I was, you're going to run into some problems with your libido pretty quickly, as your boy realised. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Gosh, that was a tangent of the ages. How did we end up at Titanic, no wood, and gosh. Anyway, let's get back to it. So we ended up going to this PT, and he said, "Daniel, we're going to go into a long-term gaining phase. We're going to push your foot up and we're going to stack on the tissue." And I actually remember messaging him a couple of days later, and I said, "I don't want to go through with coaching anymore." I wanted to back out because he wanted to push me into gaining phase, and I said, "I want to stay lean. I'm not comfortable with this." And he basically just told me straight. He said, "Daniel, we're doing it," and that's it. Let me just make sure this mic's on. Yeah, it is on. We're good. So he just says, "No, you need to do this if you want." I wanted to get bigger and stronger. And you might be listening to this thinking, okay, how do I get more muscle, but how do I stay lean? So he pushed me into a gaining phase, and this was for 10 months where we pushed our calories up. I got more comfortable with the level of body fat that I had. I was not razor sharp lean, and I was filling my t-shirt out. I was actually getting really strong across my list because I had fuel, I had energy for my sessions. And that's what I want you to realize, is that if you want to be bigger, if you want to be leaner, if you want to have more flexibility and freedom with your food, the answer is not more dieting. The answer is more muscle. Because think of your body like a machine. The bigger the machine, the more fuel it needs to function. If you have more muscle, you need more calories to just stay and maintain weight, so you can stay lean year round. My younger brother, Dean, he's eating 3,300 calories and he's razor sharp lean. He went out and he said to me, we were laughing about it yesterday, he says, I ate out 4 times at the weekend and I woke up so much leaner. When you have a lot of muscle, you can eat a lot of food and stay lean. And you also, because your maintenance is so much higher, you have insurance. that you can go out and be less stringent. You can go out and eat what you want at the weekends, and you're gonna be good. So let's get back to it. I used to also have a bench in my room. I would have done nothing aside from hunger strike, bench in my room. I would have had 50 kg, and I used to think I was the man. I actually used to walk outside thinking, who wants to have sex with me? I could bench 50 kg for 8 reps. I remember I was such a ball bag. I would, if my friends came over to the house, I would have said, right, jump on the bench, and I would have made them get onto the bench and see what they had, just knowing that I was going to be able to lift heavier. And that's like, I was benching 50 kg. By any means, I was not a strong man. I was not strong man. And I would have also done Mike Chang 6-pack shortcuts. So before school every morning, I was sitting doing, we would have had to do these, what were they, reverse crunches. And then I would have done my lying leg raises. I don't know why I'm trying to show you, as if you can see what I'm doing. I would have done that every morning. And of course, it did build my abs. I was doing it every morning. But that's all I had. I didn't have a peck of muscle elsewhere. Maybe a little bit at my chest. Anyway, that was then. I had no clue. And I want you to realise that you might be too skinny, you might be overweight, but that does not define you. That does not define who you are. And a reminder that if you do what everybody else does, you're going to get what everybody else has. I was guessing like everybody else with my training, with my food, and as a result, I looked like everybody else. I wasn't in great shape. And the minute I started investing in myself, the minute I hired a coach, the minute I started to do different than everybody else, I started to get a different result. So just a reminder for you that if you want different in life, whether that's physical, business, personal, you got to do different. If you're on a fitness journey now and you're trying to get in shape for the first time, people should notice that you're maybe not on the beers every weekend like you would have been, that you're saying no to takeaways at times when you would have said yes. That if you're trying to build your business, that you're spending more time in the office than going out and being social. People should notice. If you want an extraordinary life, you want the luxury, if you want the flexibility, you want the freedom, you want the physique, you have to take extraordinary action every single day. Do not forget that. You get one life. One life. That's it. And if you live it right, that's enough. You're made to be different. You're made to be extraordinary, but you have to take extreme, extraordinary action. And in your 20s, in your 30s, that's when you should be going high risk. That's when you should be going all in. Alcohol will always be there. Parties will always be there. But the opportunity for you to go all in and achieve everything you've ever dreamed of might not be there. Like, why are you not running like you're on fire? You should be running like you're on fire towards everything that you've ever dreamed of. People call me crazy. They think I'm nuts. I am nuts. But I would much rather be called crazy, nuts, extreme, cringe, and live a life that I love, of freedom, than be called cool, than be called normal, and be bang average and get to the end of my day sitting 80 years old on my deathbed thinking, what if? What if I went all in? You want to get in the shape of your life? Good. Go all in. You want to blow up on social media and build a business? Go all in. It is the only answer. 1 year of locking in can completely change your life. 2023, I threw my life at social media. And then eventually it blew up. Eventually my life changed forever. You don't realise the power of 1 year. So go on. Don't know how we get onto that. Got a bit excited there. And also your standard as a man, I'm going to get into the nitty gritty, but your standard as a man
it should be high. Never let social media gurus tell you that this is the average physique of somebody that's trained XYZ. This is the average physique of somebody that's trained for 5 years. Don't let social media tell you any different. And it's some dude built like Michelin Man. It's giant haystacks. It's dude. Is that Mark Henry? What? What? The standard should be higher for men in today's day and age, and I do believe that things are changing. I think society is going back to the way that it was. I believe that for so long men were getting weak, they were becoming soft, they were becoming a victim of their emotions, governed by their externalities, things outside of their control, riddled with excuses, and they were becoming soft. And it felt like doing anything extreme, anything hard, anything challenging, whether that's doing an ultramarathon, whether that's getting into an ice bin at 5 a.m, whether that's getting ripped to the bone, that was toxic. And to be male, what it meant to be male, it was toxic. And I say fuck that. I say be masculine. I say do the hard thing. I say bring back personal responsibility. It's okay for you to not be okay. You're fine the way you are. But that helps the man in the moment. But it shafts the man down the line. That is called toxic compassion. Being seen to do good right now, but not serving you down the line. If you have a fat friend, tell them. If you have a friend that is sabotaging themselves by drinking too much or taking drugs or not getting to the gym, tell them. If you truly care about somebody and they're not serving themselves, tell them and pull them up with you. I see this in Instagram. Do you ever look at girls' Instagram comments? And it's particularly fat girls. You look at their Instagram comments and it's like, oh my God, slay, wish I could have your shape. They know they're lying. The girl knows that her friend's lying. Everybody knows. And that's enabling people to worsen their quality of life. And I'm being honest, people will lie to you. I'm being honest. I'm saying what people think. There's no way people will look at someone like that and they think, "Oh my God, slay queen! I want your curves." It's the same woman like Lizzo that preached body positivity that are now taking Ozempic to lose the body fat. Is it Lizzo? Is it Lizzo? I don't know. I have been told that you're fine the way you are, that you don't need to put on more muscle, that you don't need to get in shape. And I was miserable. I was really, I'm going to be really honest with you. I used to tear myself apart. I used to look in the mirror and my clothes used to drown me. And I feel so insecure. I feel insecure when I went out the house, when I was out on a night out. I feel insecure when I was around other men. I feel insecure in the gym. And it used to get to me. It made me feel so small. It made me feel so insignificant. And I'm not saying boo-hoo as if my life was bad, because it wasn't. But you got one life. You got one body. Go and get what you want, man. You don't want to look in the mirror and be happy with what you see. You want to be able to walk in their room with chest. You want to be able to take your top off on holiday and live every single experience and have every single memory as best as it possibly could have. Not tarnished because you're not looking how you want to look or feeling how you want to feel. So I demand that in the next year that you be honest with your friends. You be honest with yourself. Because if I listened to other people that I was fine the way I was, I'd be depressed and miserable. And when you put yourself out there, when you do get into world-class shape, you don't just help yourself, you help everybody around you. So, do I cut or do I bulk? Simple. If you do not have visible abs, you're going to diet first. You're going to diet until you have them. Very simple. You're going to enter into the Harris. You're going to enter into Google Harris Benedict formula. You're going to put in your body weight, your height, your rough activity level, it'll give you a certain amount of calories. Then I want you to download an app called Happy Scale. It's on iPhone. If you've an Android, sorry to hear, being in shape's not for you, mate. Are you not entertained? No, honestly, if no, I'm only joking. If you have an Android, just jump off a bridge. Oh! No, I'm honestly, I'm joking. If you have an Android, go fuck yourself. Ah, boy. Okay, right. I'm being childish now. But seriously, get your act together. Download the app Happy Scale. Take a reading first thing after you've gone for a pee in the morning, before you eat or drink anything. Weigh yourself. Put it in the Happy Scale for 14 days. Those calories that you've been given, nail those calories. I would buy scales to weigh your food. When you weigh your food, you know exactly what's in it. If you say that's too extreme, cool. Enjoy being fat this summer. Weigh your food every single day. Say it's 2,500 calories. Hit that. Let's say it's 2,000 calories, right? Let's be more realistic for most people. Say it's 2,000 calories. Great. Nail that for 14 days. Input your weight every morning into Happy Scale. Look on your health app on your phone. What's your average weekly steps? Say it's 5,000. Great. Add 2k to that. So you're going to do 7,000 steps every single day. You're going to hit 2,000 calories. You're going to weigh your food and you're going to input it into MyFitnessPal. Or you can use ChatGPT. Just voice note ChatGPT everything that you've had today and it will tell you the calories and macros. Simple. Voice note ChatGPT, make me a meal plan for 2,000 calories and just nail that every day. You will not need to log it or anything. Just weigh your food, done. Make me a meal plan, maybe a high protein meal plan. I'm trying to lose weight. I am 83 kg and I want to get to 73 kg, done. Use my ChatGPT to help you with that. And a reminder that information is not the answer. You're saying, oh, well, why am I telling you about ChatGPT? Why would you not? Why would I not? Information's not the answer. If everybody was a billionaire, if information was the answer, everyone would be a billionaire. Everybody would have a six-pack. I don't care about ChatGPT. I don't care about AI. AI is not going to steal my job. AI is not... If the coaches out there that think AI is going to completely change the fitness industry, you're right. If they think it's going to remove coaches, certain aspects of it, yes. Weight loss drugs, do they think it's going to change coaching? Yes. Is it going to remove coaches? No. Because coaching, what a large part of what we do, it's the human element of it. It's managing the implementation. It's managing the human. And it's ensuring that they actually show up and do that. It's not just giving somebody calories in a training plan. So you're going to do those things, as I said, right? This is if you're dieting first. Do it for 14 days. If your body fat drops... Great. If your body fat drops at a weekly average of more than, say, 1% of your body weight, if your body weight is 90 kg, 0.9, 70 kg, 0.7. If it drops like that at a weekly rate, great. Don't change anything. If it's less than that, increase your steps by 2,000. Very simple. If your body weight drops, don't change it. If it increases, add steps, take 100 calories away. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but that's the gist of it. Keep doing that until you get lean. Once you've gotten lean, you're going to go into a gaining phase. You're going to gain for a minimum of 6 to 8 months. I would say if you need to gain more muscle, I would say 12 months gaining, get it done. 12 months into a gaining phase, we're going to push your calories up. Every single time your weight plateaus for more than 7 to 10 days, push your calories up by 200. Get strong as possible in the gym. Logging your lifts. Please don't. Bro, there's people killing me. I go into the gym and people connotate themselves with a certain number. They're like, oh yeah, that's my number for bench. I'm like, dude, you don't own 75 kg. You look the same. You haven't beaten your lifts in 10 years, mate. That's why you go into the gym and you see people look the same. Because they train with intensity. There's more power in a budgie's boner. Honestly, there's more life in my dead granda than some of the people I see in the gym. Wakey, mate. Where's the intensity? Log your lifts, beat your lifts, week in, week out. That's your training, okay? with your food, as I said, when your weight plateaus for more than 7 days, increase your calories by 200. Repeat until you have nailed 10 to 12 months of gaining. You will be a much, much bigger dude. And then you're going to diet again. Strip off the body fat, reveal the muscle that you've built. It's like going into the Ferrari dealership. Building your wealth is the gaining phase. All right? You're building all your Dango dollars. When you walk into the Ferrari dealership and they take off the red cloak, that small period of time, that small act, that is your dieting phase. So you can see the answer is not in the diet. The answer is in the gaining beforehand. Because if you don't have the muscle, brother, you're not going to have anything to show off. But as I always say, if you don't have visible abs, always diet first. Because when you do that, you can gain for longer. You start in a much nicer position. Because if you're fat and you gain now, this is going to be the leanest. This is the leanest you're going to be for the next 8 months. You're only going to put on more body fat, and you're only going to have more work to do down the line. So if you don't have abs, diet first, then gain. If you have abs or an outline of it, go straight into gaining, right? Repeat that process as many times as you need to until you are as big as you want to be. And then from there, if you want to maintain, cool. I maintain lean year round now because I'm happy with the amount of muscle I have. I'm just in a very, very slight surplus, very slight, where I can stay lean year round. Also, bonus points. That tinny is disgustingly good. Do you know it is 10 a.m. and I've had 2 tinnies and a coffee and I feel alive? No wonder. Okay, also, some reality checks. Number 1, you will have more body fat than you need to lose. You'll have more body fat to lose than you realise. Most men, they come to me and they want to get in shape, they want to get abs. You're probably a lot further away from having abs than you actually realise. That's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean it can't be done quickly. Most guys come to us, we'll diet them for 12 to 16 weeks and give them abs straight off the bat. Unless they have a serious amount of body fat to lose. But most guys come in, they think, oh yeah, I always say, with our programme, if you don't drop 20 pounds within your first 90 days, I'll give you a full refund and we work with you for completely free until you get the result. And I'll give you £1,000 on top. That's how confident I am in what we do, right? Because it's a science game. It's not a golden nugget, airy-fairy bullshit. It is a numbers game. It's simple. We've done it 1,000,000 times. And some guys are like, oh, I don't have 20 pounds to lose. And I will say straight up, you absolutely do have 20 pounds to lose. That's 9.5 kg. That's not a lot of body fat. If I dieted most of the time, I would be able to strip off 9 kg, and those guys would look at me and think, mate, you don't have a pick of body fat on you. Mate, I've been doing it long enough, trust me. So you will often need to remove more body fat than you think. That's okay. That's not a problem, right? If it's hard, don't get started. Listen, if all you want is comfort and an easy life, you're in the wrong podcast, baby. Bosh, me and you know we are here to do hard things. We're here to stretch ourselves, and off the back of doing hard things, your life will change. Anyway, also, stacking on the muscle. It's not going to be an overnight job, right? It is a longer term process. That's why most guys aren't in shape. Most guys won't have a lot of muscle. Why? Because it takes time. The dieting phase, it's hot, it's heavy. You're seeing changes week in, week out. The gaining phase, you're not. It's slow. It can be mundane. It can be boring. And it takes time. And most people don't have the patience. Most people can't see it out. And most people definitely can't repeat it year in, year out. And the reason how I look and have so much flexibility and so much freedom, can eat so much more and stay really lean, is because I just have not wavered. So many men in today's day and age, all they want is novelty. They want things to be fun all the time. Yes, absolutely. Should you mix your training up every, say, 12 to 16 weeks and change your program and ensure that, yes, absolutely. Should you do movements you love? Abso-freaking-lutely, of course. Because if you do what you love, not just what's optimal, you're going to do it more, you're going to do it better. Simple. But so many men, they'll train for 2-3 years, maybe even less, and they'll get bored. And then they'll jump and do high rocks. Or they'll jump and they'll start doing marathon training when they know deep down they don't look how they want to. So my ethos is get to how you want to look first. Build the muscle, get the physique, because once you've got that for life. Then you can go and put your time into whatever modality of training that you see fit. It's like guys saying, I want to look like the guys that do high rocks. Yes, motherfucker, they done strength training first, then went to high rocks. You are built like a hunger striker. UNICEF are going to be knocking your door, mate. You need a gaining phase. That was me, right? All I did was run. Motherfucker, I did not need to run. Someone needed to bolt me to the floor and just give me a set of dumbbells. Anyway, what's going to be huge for you to ensure that you get the most out of that gaining phase? Number one, it does not matter how good your training is, how good your nutrition protocol is. I said that again, butchered that. It does not matter how good your training protocol is, how good your nutrition plan is. If your stress is through the roof, you are shortchanging yourself, and you will make way less gains than what you could have. If you're stressed, your testosterone is going to be lower. If you're stressed, you're going to sleep much worse. And if you sleep much worse, everything goes downhill from that. So your priority outside of your training and your food should be ensuring that you get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Stay off your phone 30 minutes before bed. Keep your sleeping and waking time the same or as consistent as possible, especially through the week. Have a caffeine cutoff. 10 hours pre-bed, cut your caffeine off. Go to decaf. Instead of having Coke Zeros in the evening, go for Sprite Zero. Keep them pearly whites, baby. And no caffeine. With your stress, I do the cold water. Number one, because it makes me feel like a dog. But number two, lowers my stress. Makes me much better able to deal with stress day to day. That's all it does, right? With the ice bath, if you voluntarily stress your body with training, with an ice bath, it means when involuntary stress comes in your life, you can deal with it much better. So I do that in the mornings. I also do Wim Hof breathing method. It's 10 minutes and I am so much more calm after it. My ability to deal with stress goes from here to here. Fully in, fully out, fully in, fully out. You think I'm crazy? Cool. I'm going to be crazy, calm, cool and collected. You're going to be normal and stressed off your gills. Who's going to have more tissue? Come on. Sorry, I'm saying that as if you're the opposite side. You're not. Me and you, we are winners here. Let's pretend there's another person in the room. Fuck that guy. Right? We should give him a name. Yeah, let's do that. We should give him a name so that we can reference it for future podcasts. What's a really dorked out name? Emmett, my friend Emmett has a Nigel. He calls a guy Nigel. Let's say... I'm trying to think of somebody that I don't know. Oh yeah, Derek. Fuck Derek. That guy sucks ass. And if you know a Derek, he probably sucks. Anyway, so sleep, stress, pivotal. Also, when it comes to your training, even if you're dieting, you need to have most of the carbohydrates in your day pre, post, and intra. This is called your peri-nutrition, and I'll not bore the balls off you. You probably want to kill yourself after if I go into a science lesson here. Most people, they don't fuel for their sessions properly. Let me have one banana, and then they go in and try to shift serious tin for an hour and 15 minutes. Mate, come on. That's like putting red diesel into your car or not even fueling it at all and then saying, why is it not going? You need to make sure that you're fueling your sessions. For me, I will have, before my sessions, I'll have 80 grams of cereal, I'll have almond milk, I'll have a bagel with jam, and then I will have a banana off the back of it. I'm well fueled for my training for that, okay? And you want quick carbohydrates. If you're eating within 60 minutes before your session, quick carbohydrates, things that have higher sugar in it. Bananas, rice cakes with honey, bagels with jam, cereal. I'll not bore you with the science of it, but foods that are high on a glycemic index, which basically means that they're gonna be readily absorbed and you're gonna be able to use them straight off the bat. Things that are on the other side of that, pasta, brown rice, things that are really gonna fill you up, but you're not going to be able to use them for fuel straight off the bat. So make sure that you're fueling. Then intra-session, if you have the calories to play with, I would ensure that you're having a carb drink throughout your session. It's called an intra-workout. It's called Carb Up. I would order that. The grape flavor is goated. Just take it with water through your session. Why do you have a car? Why would you have this? Well, think of it this way. Imagine you're in a car, and the longer the journey goes on, the fuel is just going to deplete. And as your fuel gets less and less, the performance of the car gets worse. It's the exact same in your training. When you are going through your training session, you're pushing hard, your carb stores are just getting lower and lower and lower. Your glycogen stores, fuel, it's getting lower. And as it gets lower, your performance gets worse. Your ability to push numbers gets worse. It means you're not going to be able to get the gains that you want, brother. You're not going to be able to beat your numbers as well. So I'm going to have a carb drink. Say it's Carb Up, or is it a Lucozade Sport, a Gatorade, a Powerade? This is going to ensure that your numbers, or so that your performance in the gym stays peak, that it does not dissipate as the session goes on. Because your numbers in the gym are absolutely everything. That's why you need to be logging them. Your intensity is the bread and butter to your training. If you train like a mate, that's why you go into the gym sometimes and you see guys that don't track, but they are just, you know, those guys that are like builders or they're construction workers. They're just hard motherfuckers, and they've never tracked a thing in their life, but they eat a lot of food and they train so hard. They train like a serial killer, and they're massive. Even if you're not optimal, if you train hard enough for long enough and you eat enough food, you're gonna put on tissue. Fact. So yeah, think of that's, as I said, I can go into the nuances. I can go into so much depth with this, but I don't want to bore you, and I don't want to give you too many things to do. But look at where you're at right now. Look down. Do I have abs? No. I need to cut first. Even if you feel skinny fat, you need to cut first. If you try and do both, it's like trying to catch two rabbits at once. You end up catching fuck all. It's like having one dart, two dartboards. You're not hitting the board, brother. Look down. Do I have abs currently? No. I will diet first for 12 to 16 weeks. Strip off the body fat. If you're unsure of how to do that, message me on Instagram the word Shreddy Mercury, like Freddie Mercury. Shreddy Mercury. Message me on Instagram, Shreddy Mercury, and I will send you over a video explaining exactly how you can get lean and drop the body fat that you're after. Once you've dieted, gaining phase, 8 to 10 months. Suck it up. This is the most important time ever for your physique. You're actually building it. A good physique is not built in the dieting phase, it is built in the gaining phase. So you need more time spent there. And what we do with our guys, we ensure that they stay relatively lean throughout it as well. There's no dirty bulks going on here. That's just an excuse for people to eat shit. It's also like when you see people doing marathons and high roxes and they just get fat, and they say, I'm training for performance. Mate, funny that. The best performance athletes in the world are not fat. They are not out of shape. Most of them are ripped to the fucking bone. Why? Because their nutrition is on lock. If you see someone putting on loads of body fat, that just tells me that you're eating way too much for what you're doing. So never use performance as an excuse to get out of shape. You should be, if you're in shape, you should be able to perform very well. Vice versa. Just trying to see what else we've got here. Nah, I think we're good. I think we've covered a lot there. A lot of mindset shifts when it comes to getting in shape as well. Realizing that this adds to every aspect of your life, it doesn't take away from it, is probably the most important thing here. And just remember that if you've gone through dieting phases before and you've spun your wheels and you don't know how to get into shape, reach out and find somebody that does. Man, I don't care if it's me, a friend, who it is. Find somebody that does. And oftentimes, I work with a lot of guys that some people are in a position to invest, and some people are not, and they still sign up with me. They invest, they take the pinch, and they still sign up with me because they realize the cost of doing nothing. They realize that if I don't change, this is still going to be here in 6 months' time. These problems, they never go away. The desire to get in shape, it never goes away. It just gets buried and then revisited another time down the line. So ask yourself, if I change nothing from today, from the past 4 weeks, how will I look and feel in a year's time? If the answer is not exactly how I want to look and feel, then what are you going to do about it? You either make a change or we don't. Please do not sit in no man's land. Half-ass your sessions, wing your food, wake up stressed and tired, and then hope you just find your way in shape. That will never happen. That's like me. Never posting on Instagram, half-assing my career and expecting me to get loads of clients and build a business. It doesn't happen. You have to be intentional with these things, and you'll know. Our guys that get into world-class shape, they know. They're like, oh shit, this is so much more structured. This is something that I've never done this before, right? Because we not only will we look at just your food, we'll look at we'll look at what you're eating, we'll look at when you're eating, we'll look at the quality of foods we're eating, we'll change the foods as we get deeper into deficit. We're making changes at the right time. We're looking at your mindset, we're looking at your sleep habits, we're looking at lowering your stress, we're looking at tweaking your training. Everything gets nailed, okay? Everything. And as I say, if you're serious, as I said to all of our guys, I don't just take everybody in our program what we do. If you're really serious about getting a world class result, DM me on Instagram and we can grab a chat and I'll see obviously if you're a good fit for it. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you fit the bill for what we do. We work with go-getters, people that do not make excuses, people that do not point the finger, and I absolutely adore every single person that I work with. I say that I could go for a pint with every single one of them, and that's one thing that made me really appreciate my life the other day. I think sometimes you can get caught in wishing for more, in longing for more. I think that you can get caught in believing that your life is not as good as it actually is. I received a lot of love after delivering a seminar last week or the week before. Guys saying how much I've helped them that I didn't even know. And then getting testimonials from our guys and seeing how much they've changed their lives. And it made me just realise how lucky I actually am to be able to work with such incredible people that I genuinely love. I literally go into my WhatsApp in the morning. Every morning, it's the first thing I do. I'll wake up and I'll go straight to my WhatsApp and I'll do my client DMs. And I don't even like to say clients because they literally feel like family to me. And I know people say that and it makes people like eye roll. They actually feel like my family. It literally just feels like going in and talking to my mates all day, but knowing that you're actually helping them is huge. So yeah, very, very grateful, and I want you to take a second as well and appreciate just how grateful your life actually is. I was listening to a podcast last night when I was going to sleep. Do you know the US office? It's Rainn Wilson, Dwight. He was saying that through the period of filming The Office, when he was making millions and millions of dollars, he had a dream gig. He was absolutely miserable, longing for more, wondering why have I not been signed by Warner Bros? Why have my movies not taken off? He was in the best form of his life, in a job that he only could have dreamed of, and he was wishing it away. And he was asked by Stephen Bartlett, how would he have been able to actually be present with that and be grateful for it? And he says, you have to practice that gratitude. And it sounds wishy-washy and people then write it off, but it's not. You have to ask yourself, you have to say every day, what am I grateful for? And you have to list these things out, say it aloud, write it down, because if you don't, guess what? The thoughts of, I'll be happy when, they take over. You can't be angry, you can't be wishing your life away when you're grateful. So that's something I want you to take away from today too. But at the end of the day, you get one life. You get one body. Use it. Get into the best shape of your life. Experience everything that life has to offer through the best vessel that you can. And people say, oh, well, it's expensive. Mate, people spend crazy money on a car which you will use for 3 years. You have your body for life. The way I see it, like what I do, it's completely priceless. It's invaluable because it's not just impacting somebody now, it's impacting the rest of their life and it's impacting their family. It's generational impact. People will spend money on holidays, which is 7 days, but they won't invest in how they feel day to day, every day. Life is not holidays and margaritas on the beach. Life is how you wake up when you look in the mirror. It's how you interact with your coworkers, your family. It is every day. That's why I've had a coach for the past 7 years, and I always will. I know what to do, but someone holds me to a higher standard than I hold myself. So thank you. Thank you for listening. I really enjoyed today's podcast, and I hope you did too. And if you have failed in the past, So what? What if I told you that you were 100 rejections away from meeting your wife? How excited would you be every single time someone told you no? If you were 5 diets away from getting your dream physique, how much more excited would you be to get going again? If I told you that you were only 1,000 videos away from going viral, blowing up your business and changing your life, how often would you post? Once a week? Or every day without thinking about it? You are a certain number of reps away from your dream life. So do not stop. It is there for the taking. Do the thing, feel the fear, get over it. Your life is meant to be world class. Your life is meant to be incredible. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Do it when you're tired. Do it when you're scared. Do it when you're not motivated. It might be 10 reps. It might be 100 reps. But there is a number that exists out there that if you hit it, a certain amount of Instagram posts, a certain amount of diets, a certain amount of women approach, a certain amount of businesses failed, your life will explode into everything that you've ever dreamed of. You just have to start. Do not be afraid of failure. It is not a bug. It is a feature. It is part of the process. It is necessary to get to where you want to go. Change your relationship with failure and your life will change. Because as a wise man once said,